We've got ourselves a good old-fashioned silver crisis on hand, and it's about to get worse. Let's talk about it as we explore. And it's not just a constitutional silver crisis either, by the way, but that is the focus of what's going on now, because this stuff is becoming more and more rare by the day. That's right. Constitutional silver is being melted down. And I talked about this in a prior video, maybe a few months ago, how there's a lot of good silver that's being sent to the furnace, sent to refiners to be melted down from, 10-ounce bars, constitutional silver, and other silver that is even collectible. Local coin shops have been getting so much of it because the prices have been going up that they just can't hold it. And the prices move, and they've got to move it as well. And so in some aspect, you can't blame them. And they're taking it in, and they're making money on the refiner side. But there are some shops who are seeing the real problem here. And I think this is a great thing to initiative that has been set up by CoinShop Chris to stop the melt. And that's right, we want to stop the melting of constitutional silver. Why? For a couple of reasons. Number one, it is history. It is history, even from the pieces as most recent as a 1964 Kennedy half dollar. There's a lot of those out there, to even some of the older pieces like the Barber half dollar or the Standing Liberty quarter. There's a lot of constitutional silver that has been sent off to be melted down. And because the price of silver is going up so much, and people are selling so much of it, that there's a glut of it at local coin shops. So it is a risk for them to hold on to it for any length of time. So it goes to refiners. Now, CoinShop Chris says that some of these refiners are noting this, and they see that this is good silver. So they try to resell it to other places so that it can be bought. And, maybe even other local coin shops, folks that are in their purview or in their central contact list of places they deal with, and maybe one large coin shop sends a whole bunch of it in, and then the refiner calls their other shops and say, hey, do you need this? Could you use this? But my guess is probably not very many, especially now that the price of silver has gone up as much as it has. Now, of course, by the time you see this video, who knows where the silver market's going to be. We may see a pullback, but it won't last long, I don't think. And I think that even so, people will be inclined to sell. I can't tell you how many times I've seen from folks who said, once silver hits $30, I'm going to sell. I'm out of silver. That's it. Of course, it's even more amplified for every dollar that the silver price goes up above that. And here we are, several dollars above that now. And so it is going to become more of an issue. It's going to be more of a problem. But here's what you can do to stop it. And this is not just for Americans with constitutional silver either. There's a whole bunch of other kind of silver out there as well, too. This is a bag of world silver with varying different purities, from 720, 0.58, and there's all different kinds, even 10% silver. I think it should all be preserved. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why that is in a moment. First, I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals. Summit Metals also sells constitutional silver, and I think it's great to buy it. You can probably get really good deals for it online right now. But I like to look at my local coin shop as well, too, for constitutional silver and other types of silver. And that's really the point I want to make to you. The more of the stuff you buy, whether it be online or at your local coin shop, you are saving. You are saving this silver from being melted down. Even some of the more gnarly pieces that really yucky, I'm holding on to those as well too. Because I tell you, this stuff is history, and it very well could be used as money again. We've heard about things like the gold back and about states that are recognizing gold and silver as legal tender again. Well, that includes constitutional silver that was once money before and can be and really is under Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, still is money as recognized by the Constitution, no matter what the states do. we can, in a sense, transact in it now, no matter which state you live in. And honestly, I would dare say that if you live anywhere else in the world, you can take this world silver and transact in it. You can barter with it. And essentially, that is how you make silver money again, is by utilizing them for transactions. And it stops the melt. And it's a good idea to have this. And I do my part by buying a little bit of constitutional silver almost every time I go to the local coin shop. Here, this dime bag has 14 silver dimes in it. That's a whole ounce of silver. And it doesn't take much, even at the rising price of silver, to accumulate a couple of dimes every visit. You know, it's either that or buy a pack of cigarettes, or a candy bar, or a Monster drink, or a Starbucks coffee. I'd much rather have something that's going to last much longer than those things, which aren't very good for you, by the way, and have yourself some good old-fashioned mercury dimes. That's right. And the smallest unit here for constitutional silver that you can buy. Of course, you can get other constitutional silver, even the very first commemorative, circulated commemorative $50 by the United States Mint. There's all different kinds, various different designs. One of my favorites, the Walking Liberty, beautiful. And you got the Franklin $50 and the Kennedy $50, and you know, it's good stuff. Usually the older stuff typically has higher premiums, and so you want to be careful about that, obviously, whenever you're buying them. And obviously silver dollars as well. You may be able to find some call silver dollars for a constitutional price, you know, usually priced by the dollar. But the more that we buy and hold on to, and that's key, holding on to it, the less likely it is to be melted down. But if you are a refiner, or if you're a local coin shop and you're watching this video, please spread this message to those in your purview, in your influential circles, to get the message out there to stop the melt. Because I think it's crucial that we do our part to preserve the legacy of what silver coinage has been in the United States, and yes, even around the world, because this stuff is being melted down too in the United States and around the world. And I think it's a good idea to hold on to this stuff, because it very well could and has the potential to be money right now. And that is the message I want to send home to you. Silver is money, and this is a reflection of it right now. It does not circulate as currency right now, obviously, but some people have and will and are using it as such in some different cases. So keep that in mind. But the thing is that even though there's a lot of it out there, and I can't tell you how many times my local coin shop will have a huge bucket of quarters, dimes, and $50, and then they're gone. Somebody buys it up, or they sell it back to the refiner. So this is the message that we want to send far and wide, and to share this video with others, because it's so important that we need to do our best to try to save history and to preserve fractional silver that can be had at a cheap price. That is really key here. This is the best way to buy fractional silver, hands down, no question about it. You know, it's timeless, and it is something that I think that will serve you well. And no matter what, it will always be liquid. It's always recognizable. And by the way, constitutional silver is very rarely faked. On rare occasions, rare dates maybe, but nonetheless, when you have a constitutional silver quarter in your hand, you know you've got something of value that is cheap. You can have it for very, very cheap. There have been times when constitutional silver is sold at a higher premium, but it's not very often. And especially as the prices of silver go up, we should be buying this more, especially if you're on a limited budget, because you can get yourself a dime for pennies on the dollar compared to buying a full ounce of silver. And the percentage above spot is really about the same, or maybe even less. And so that is really kind of what we want to be able to have those options out there, because they're not going to mint this stuff anymore. And that's it. And whatever is here is here. And this dime very well could have been melted down if I didn't buy it. And so think about that for a moment. So, and this message also goes out to stackers of gold. Even if you have a whole lot of money and you're buying gold, I think it's a great idea to get yourself a little constitutional silver because, even a 20th of an ounce of gold is something that is not very divisible and on a surface, and it's very tiny. This is going to be a great way to transact. And even if you have gold backs, well, gold backs indeed are a great way to transact if the institutions and the businesses recognize the transaction value, what has been set. That is the value that is set by goldback.com. The exchange rate. If that's honored, then that's great. Otherwise, it's constitutional silver or it's world silver that can be utilized and transacted. And so just keep that in mind. There's a real danger here, and we need to do our best to try to minimize that risk by holding on to and buying and also not selling back to your local coin shop unless you can work out a deal with them that says, hey, what are you going to do with this? If you have to sell it, ask them what they're going to do with it. If they say we're going to send it to the refiner, maybe propose something else if you need to sell. But the message needs to go out there that even though there's a lot of this still out there, there is a real fear that you start melting a bunch of it down, it's going to become even more rare, and we need it. This is kind of silver we need to be plentiful because it's so valuable for transactions. So there you have it. Stop the melt. That's what we want to do here. Hold on to our history. Hold on to your silver. And with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.